Hi guys, yesterday a great deal of information was released regarding the up-and-coming DLC, which will come out in approximately a week's time on the 17th of this month. And of course I was looking forward to it a great deal. I still am to a certain extent. But I wanted to offer commentary, which may or may not please some people, on what I think. These are just my thoughts. I'm going to try not to jump the gun. I'll be posting a link to the major thread on BioWare Sociopathy Network. There's another thread, I believe, on Mass Effect 3 Co-op Reddit, where you can see basically all the relevant information. Let me just go right into it. My overview, my impression, unfortunately, is that BioWare may, I'm not going to jump the gun, may not have done a great balancing job at these, particularly the new classes, but even the new weapons. I'm going to do reverse order, so let's just look at the weapons first. If you look on the very, very first post of the page, you see the pics of the new guns. There are three new guns. There's a Typhoon light machine gun, a so-called Piranha assault shotgun, and basically an Asari pistol. It's called the Occulti, similar to the Disciple. Of these weapons, since the Disciple is a terrible, terrible weapon, I hope that the pistol is somewhat better. The pistol is my least concern. As everyone knows, shotguns are some of my favorite weapons. If you look at the shotgun, it looks like a grenade launcher. It looks almost exactly like a grenade launcher. And my imagination and my prediction might be, well, that this is in fact a shotgun grenade launcher. You charge at enemies, and you just another version of the Falcon, except as a shotgun. The Typhoon looks kind of interesting. It looks like something you might attach to a combat helicopter. But I was looking forward to the shotgun the most, but I guess we'll have to see. But it doesn't look like a balanced weapon. And given the fact that in the previous DLC with the Rieger and the Kreisei, that it wasn't terribly balanced how they did the job. The Harrier, however, is pretty balanced. It's very good, only limited by its lack of ammo. So let's hope that the Occulti pistol is a good weapon, but not insanely overpowered or ridiculous. Those are the weapons, though. If you look at the descriptions, and of course, they're likely being somewhat hyperbolic. That's what game companies do when they describe things. But I'll just read off some of the information here. You can look at it yourself. Adept N7 Fury, throw Annihilation Field Dark Channel. Those of you who played single player know that Dark Channel is in itself not a very damaging power, but every time you kill something with a biotic explosion, it jumps to the next enemy. So you can see the potential there with throw and Dark Channel. Annihilation Field, I have no idea what that is. It sounds pretty powerful, but the Adept sounds pretty harmless, by the way, compared to some of the others. Here's where it gets interesting. The Soldier, the N7 Destroyer, multi-frag grenade. So its frag grenades aren't enough. You have multi-frag missile launcher, Devastator mode, T5V battlesuit. And below, as you'll see in the description, it's basically a walking Ymir mech, and a human mech. This one I really can't. Well, Engineer N7 Demolisher homing grenade. A homing grenade is kind of an oxymoron, but let's ignore that. Arc grenades, best grenades in the game thus far. Supply pylon. Supply pylon, as you'll see in the description, is pretty ridiculous. Sentinel, this sounds pretty balanced. N7 Paladin, Snap Freeze, Incinerate, Energy Drain. It sounds pretty balanced. Infiltrator, N7 Shadow, Tactical Cloak, Shadow Strike, Electric Slash. Sounds interesting, very Kasumi-like. Here's where everyone, I guess, is getting happy. We have our own Phantom, Vanguard N7 Slayer, Phase Disruptor, Biotic Charge, Biotic Slash. and then has a goddamn sword. Is Kai Lang, I'm assuming. The descriptions. Fury. Fury operatives use implants to fuel biotics, and their incredible movement speeds. This class will have more, will move faster. These operatives wind an incredible path, unpredictable path on the battlefield, moving in and out of combat before returning to unleash a sweeping biotic attack on their unsuspecting targets. Sounds harmless. Destroyer. The Destroyer's T-5B battlesuit gives these strong but slow soldiers mech-like protection. Driven by EZO-assisted actuators, these frontline troops carry heavy weapons onto the battlefield. He has his own missile launcher. Demolisher. The Demolisher uses grenades to attack at range and to terrorize the battlefield. Two different kinds of grenades. Here's where it gets crazy. Demolishers can also create a supply pylon that stocks allies with an unending reserve of grenades and thermal reloads. I'll make a comment on it in a bit. Paladin. The Paladin carries a powerful Omni Shield onto the battlefield to block enemy fire. The Paladin also uses the shield as a heavy melee weapon that, when modified with incendiary or cryo upgrades, create a devastating combination attack. That sounds interesting. This Paladin, to me, at the moment, sounds the most balanced. Channel infiltrators use implants to dramatically improve agility, making them slippery combatants on the battlefield. Their monomolecular blades are a menace from cover and close range. And Slayer. Slayers use implants to dramatically improve mobility. Their dizzying sword attacks can hit multiple opponents, and the Slayer's ability to slip fire makes them hard to pin down on the battlefield. So you have Charge, this phase thing, which I guess is similar to a Phantom Palm evasion, and your own biotic blade. And you can see the pics. They're basically reskins of a lot of the older stuff, but nonetheless, looks. The reskins are quite nicely done. New guns, and finally, Platinum mode has been confirmed. So some commentary on all this. I'm looking forward to Platinum mode the most, and the new maps, I have to say. Not so much the classes and the guns. The classes, unfortunately, seem very overpowered. I mean, an engineer that has a supply pylon, maybe that's just they're being hyperbolic, exaggerating in some sense. Unending reserve of grenades and thermal reloads. So imagine your team camping in the back of Giant with just one of these guys. The engineer is chucking homing grenades and arc grenades, and you have a Krogan soldier with with Inferno grenades and maybe a Sentinel tossing lift grenade. What's going to survive after that? Nothing. And this Destroyer with a missile launcher. Let's hope that it somehow is balanced. And the other thing I'm thinking at the moment is that it perhaps is balanced around Platinum. I'm pretty sure that these characters will be ultra rares, although this is purely speculation. A lot of people have been speculating on this. There's no official source confirming that these new classes will be ultra rares. I would support and endorse these characters as ultra rares for the following reasons. They have completely new powers. If the engineer has an ability that gives you unlimited grenades, making that easily attainable these days, I mean, it's pretty easy to get gold stuff. It could be very unbalancing. These classes clearly could outshine the older classes and make them redundant as well. I mean, I've noticed what's happened with. I mean, people naturally gravitate to the most powerful classes, hence the GI obsession. It used to be Solarian Infiltrator, and mind you, I actually started using the Solarian Infiltrator a bit in recent times with Cloak Duration. It's kind of fun. I enjoy that. Sorry, don't want to go off on a tangent. But these classes don't sound balanced. I don't know, but reading the descriptions, looking at it, I can't imagine how they would be balanced. Maybe I'm just, like I said, jumping the gun a bit. But I was talking about this the other night with some of my teammates, all of whom, including myself, are all concerned with having a balanced game. Good, effective weapons. Just as an example. So take the Claymore. people say, oh, it's overpowered, but it's not. If you miss, you pay the price. It's very heavy. So you have a very powerful gun. It's very heavy, penalizes your cooldown. And if you miss, it's a pain in the ass, even with reload canceling. So that's what I would call a good balanced weapon. The Growl, likewise, very powerful, staggers and so on, but it has no penetration. Doesn't benefit from AP mods, armor piercing mods. So I mean, shredder mods in this case. It's I mean that's balance. Harrier, very good assault rifle, does very good damage, very limited ammo capacity. Freesci, not balanced. These weapons don't, well, we'll see. But the classes should, in my opinion, be balanced as well. Now, I have no doubt that these classes are not going to be, but they're still going to have a learning curve. So I'm sure we're going to get tons of potentially noobs if it's not an ultra rare. Using these classes and still mucking up. You see it all the time. Although, yeah, it happened last night with Krogan Vanguards. Krogan Vanguards are even more indestructible now, and I still saw Krogan Vanguards dying last night in a PUG. 2 PUGs, actually. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm fairly certain, unless they've really implemented it poorly, that once the DLC comes out, I will stop playing Gold and play Platinum almost exclusively. And probably with the older classes, not these new shiny classes. So I can imagine that all my videos and content and guides will be in reference to Platinum in the future, because I play on Gold exclusively, and I want more of a challenge, and that's part of the game for me as well, some level of challenge. Well, we'll have to wait and see. But if you read through the descriptions, it kind of does sound potentially very unbalanced and overpowering. These thoughts that I have with some of my friends about having balanced good stuff are not shared by the majority of multiplayer enthusiasts, my impression. They just think it's great. In fact, just as an example, having unlimited, this one guy wrote, with regards to the Demolisher, having unending reserve of grenades. If this is true, this is the greatest class in the history of classes. I don't understand why people wouldn't want to play for some level of challenge. If they don't want that, they could always play bronze and silver. Gold is a little bit of a challenge. But I really hope that BioWare considered some balancing, and these powers, which sound pretty much over the top, are just sounding that way because of the description. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm not very hopeful about the weapons, to be honest. I'm pretty sure they're going to be ridiculous. If I look, like I said, the shotgun, which I was looking forward to the most, looks like a grenade launcher. Anyway, less than a week now. I guess we'll all see. My predictions, however, are that they'll be pretty unbalanced overall. The weapons as well, classes will be, and that people will be really happy about that. I think we might see a change in the dynamic. Of course, given the fact that so few people play Gold, of all the people who play multiplayer, I can only imagine how much smaller that number will be with regards to Platinum. Just wait and see. Anyway, in one way or another, I'm looking forward to it. So I'll see you guys soon. Don't know what my next guide will be on, but I might have some more adventure-esque gameplay videos coming up. So take care.